In this video, I'm going to be giving you everything that you need to learn about sales to actually run your AI agency, from how we research the niches and find the perfect solutions, the best outreach strategy, exact cold calling scripts, DM scripts, and sales scripts that we've used. This is the exact framework that brought us to over 50K a month. No fluff, let's just jump into it. This is the niche research that actually matters. And it's very, very simple. You just take the prompt here and you head over to ChatGPT. Just copy in the prompt and then you insert your industry down at the bottom. We could go with car detailers. As you can see here, the biggest pain point for the car detailers is that they are missing inquiries and they come via text, Facebook, IG DMs, or calls. It's very true that in the car detailing niche, no one responds fast because they are out doing a job. And this means that their leads go cold within minutes and they reach out to the next car detailer, because as long as the consumer doesn't find a solution or feel like they are being taken care of, they kind of just move on to the next company that could potentially help them. So by implementing this, you prevent them from losing revenue and you book people in instantly. You are able to handle their inquiries, answer their questions, handle objections, and then they won't actually miss out on appointments or revenue. Then we have a high no-show rate and low retention. And the way you fix this is by setting up an automation that makes sure the customers do not forget their appointments. So once they're booked, they get personalized messages from the detailer to actually make sure that they are reminded, which means that fewer people forget about their appointments, fewer people no-show, and they make more money. And on top of that, you can make sure that the car detailer gets more repeat business by actually reaching out to the customers that they previously had and that they delivered a good job to. You can do this by sending out an automation with a personalized message from the car detailer with an offer. This will just get them some bookings, some more cash, and that customer will be more likely to go with them again next month or the month after. As you can see, these are very, very spot on pain points that we can actually just go in and solve. And we're being told exactly what pain point it is, how to fix it, how it impacts the business, and why it's good for them. As you can see down here, they have inefficient booking and scheduling, which is true. They don't get reviews or social proof, which is basically what people are looking for immediately when they choose something like a car detailer to come and detail their car. And then finally, they have a difficulty of qualifying leads with limited time, and they are tied up answering repetitive questions, which is just what the AI fixes. And down here, you can see exactly what we were talking about. What they need is live lead engagement. They need a website widget. They need appointment setting and follow-up automations. They can do lead reactivation to get these repetitive customers, set up a Google review agent to get them more Google reviews, more social proof, more trust, and more bookings. These are all super, super high impact AIs and super big pain points for the car detailer. So use this on your niches to get an exact breakdown of their biggest pain points, how to fix them with AI, and then also how the ROI actually works. What amount of time they're spending on these repetitive tasks, how many bookings they're missing out on that they're not getting, how many no-shows, and then also what kind of impact it has in general on their business. And I suggest that you do this with every single niche that you're thinking about going into, because realistically, you're going to be picking 1, 2, 3, or even 4 niches that you're actively going to be going through. So you can see who's most responsible on the phone, who actually needs the services, and who are you more likely to close. So yes, research is boring, but this is how we've made it extremely easy and extremely effective and super valuable at the same time. Before I go into the exact method, I want to bring up something that is even more important than the leads you're contacting, the method you're using, what you're saying, what you're pitching them. And that is your exact input, which means the mindset that you're going into this with, the volume that you're going to be doing, and the consistency that you bring. Because we talk to thousands of AI agencies, and I see this again and again and again. Some people expect that when reaching out the first week to their first 10 companies, 20 companies, or even 50 companies, that they're going to be given their first client, they're going to take their first payment, and by then already make their first $500 or even their first $5,000. Those were the exact expectations that Albert and I also had in the beginning, but after being in this space for 3 years now, we know that it's completely unrealistic and you're just setting yourself up for failure if you expect this. It takes true dedication and a lot of volume to get your first clients and to get your first payments. Because the truth is, you'll sign on clients, you'll get some payments that are low, but they won't be long recurring clients because not all clients are actually good clients, and you'll figure this out too. So when you reach out to your first 10, 20, 30 businesses and you keep getting no's, it's completely normal, and you need real volume to actually land clients and get your first payments. especially in the beginning when you're just figuring out how to do outreach, what to say, what kind of words resonate, what kind of lingo do they use in the different industries. If you stay consistent day by day, apply volume to the outreach that you're doing, you'll learn so much from interacting with the business owners. You'll get knowledge to iterate and improve on your scripts to land more clients, and it will overall just make you more successful without having to increase the volume even further. But to actually get to that point where you have a lot of success with the same volume, it takes consistency, and it takes you being willing to sit down and realize that you're not really good at outreach yet and that you can improve day by day. All right, now we're on the same page in terms of how much dedication and how much volume it actually takes to be successful, land clients, and consistently grow. We can now dig into the exact outreach method and strategy that you will be implementing to land your first client. To break it down simply, we are going to get business owners information, and then we use that information to contact and reach out to them on multiple platforms. This could be cold calling them, then reaching out to them on Facebook, finding their Instagram profile, then reaching out to them there, and maybe even also finding them on LinkedIn, and then reaching out and sending a personal message. This is called a multi-touchpoint outreach method, and it will almost ensure that every single time you try to reach out to a business, that they will actually read your message, and that way you are way more likely to interact with them and actually engage with the decision maker. Let me show you how this works. The first thing that we're going to do is head over to Google Maps and go to your local city. And then in the search bar, we're going to be typing in the industry and the niche that we're going to be contacting. Now, as you can see, multiple businesses are popping up. And what we want to make sure to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom so that we fetch all of the results and all of the businesses from Google Maps. Once you see that you've reached the end of the list, you're going to head up to extensions, and I'm going to be giving you a link in the description on how to get this data scraper. In here, we are going to be selecting the Google Maps List Scrape 2025. Make sure it has auto-selected the new scrape, and then just scroll briefly to the side and make sure that you have the fields where you get the phone numbers and you get their websites, which says email for some reason. Now head back up and click on Scrape, click on Download, and then copy to Clipboard. Search sheets.new, and then simply copy in the CSV. I usually head over to text wrapping and then click on the middle option, and then I usually extend these so that they have a bit more space. Now head up to the first cell where it says business owner, address, rating, and etc. Click on view, and then click on freeze and click on one row. That way you're going to be locking this one in, and we'll be needing that in a second. Now head over to the column where it says email. This is actually where they have all of their websites. And then you click on the small arrow. And in here, you want to click on sort sheet from A to Z. And what that's actually doing is it sorts out all of the companies that have websites right here. And then at the bottom, there will be all of the companies that does not have a website. This is very important. Because in this outreach strategy, we're going to be splitting up the businesses that have websites and the businesses that don't have websites. And it's really important that you actually check their websites to see if it's actually a website. And if it's really bad, you can actually offer to make them one instead and put them in the bucket of the ones that don't have websites. And also, if they only have their Facebook or something similar, then you can also put them in the bucket of not having a website and mention that you check their website or you check their Facebook page and they don't have a website. Because the first part of the outreach method is reaching out to these business owners with your own phone that has a local number where you cold call them. And you can see that you can use these scripts below. The DM outreach scripts are something that we are going to be looking at later. So you head over to use these scripts, and then you take a look at the cold calling scripts for the free website, and you take a look at the cold calling script for the free widget. And the free website script is the one that we're going to be using for all of the businesses that we've put into the bucket of not having a website. And then the free widget script is the one that we're going to be using for all of the companies that already have websites. So you head back to the sheet, take a look at the business names to make sure that they are actually within your niche. You can also see it in the category sometimes. Sometimes they're miscategorized or they're not relevant. So just make sure that you take a look at that. And then a really smart trick that you can use if you are using a MacBook and you also have an iPhone is that you can actually copy what is on your MacBook and then use the paste option on your iPhone inside of the phone app. And then you can directly copy and paste it from the Mac into the phone without having to type in the number every single time. This will just make you more efficient. So once you start dialing, we use 3 colors to keep everything organized and be able to know what actually happened on the calls. The first color that we use is green, and this means that they are interested. This either means that you booked a call or that you have to follow up with them again. You can actually put it into a note here. Interested, call again tomorrow. Then we use the red color if they explicitly said they are not interested and that you shouldn't call them again. And also a quick note, if you see the phone number error inside of your sheet, it's usually just because it thinks it's a formula. The phone number is right up here, and all you have to do is just copy the phone number without the equal sign and then copy it into your phone. So don't skip the phone numbers where it says error, it's usually just up here. And now for the final color, this is if they do not pick up the phone, and then we use yellow. But right here, we don't just continue on to the next cold call. What we do now is we want to find the company's other contact information. And we do that by either copying the business name or heading over to their website. You copy it in, you then search for the business name and then the city that you're in, and then you look for any Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. As you can see right here, we have a LinkedIn. We can see he has 0 followers, no activity, so it's probably not a good idea to reach out here. It doesn't look like there's a lot of other ways to contact him other than calling his phone, which means we'll keep this as yellow and then we continue to the next one, and then we can try and call him again tomorrow. When we have people that don't pick up the phone and we do find them on social media, we go over to the DM outreach script and we either use the free website or the free widget script, and we basically just copy in the opener, paste it into the DMs, and then once we respond, we copy the next message into the DMs, and then we have a conversation with them. So what you need to do here in day 5 is you take a look at these scripts, you personalize them to the niche and to the industry that you're going to be reaching out to. That way you've gathered a complete strategy of who you'll reach out to, how you'll get to them, and then what you'll say as well. That way you're going to be ready for day 6, where your main goal is going to be booking a call, and I'm going to be doing a video showing you exactly how to do it by going in and doing a bunch of outreach myself. The reason I wanted you to watch this before proceeding with doing cold outreach is because I know that you have a unique advantage that could most likely shortcut your way to your first client today. And that is by reaching out to your own network. This could be family members that know business owners or family members that are business owners. It's going through your contacts on your phone, sending out some messages to some potential people that you could help. And the important thing here is just to be completely upfront that you're trying to start a thing of your own. You want to do some work for free to show you how valuable it is, and you're doing it for a testimonial or just to get started. You can also use your past employers to briefly reach out to them and have a brief discussion around if they could use AI for something. When you have these type of discussions with family members, network, or past employers, just make sure that you've done a little bit of research using the prompt that I gave you earlier. That way you're going to go into the discussion completely prepared. And now I want you to think about the people that you're interacting with on a weekly, monthly, or even yearly basis. It could be your hairdresser. It could be a cleaning company. It could be a pool cleaner. It could be a gardener. It could be the next time you have an electrician over or a plumber. It doesn't matter. But the truth is, you can interact with these people. They are actual people with actual businesses that you can have a brief discussion with. Just ask some questions about their business, how they're getting clients, what they're spending time on, be genuinely interested, and then just tell them that you started this thing and that you'd be happy to see if you could help them. You'll be surprised in your day-to-day when you just start looking for the opportunities, whether you're going to the dentist or the hairstylist, that you can start these conversations that they can lead to actual clients. If this is done correctly, you could probably make your first $500 to $1,000 online by providing free value up front, and then if they actually like it, you can upsell them on more services or help them even further. In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how the outreach strategy works by doing it myself, cold calling people, finding them online, doing the multi-point outreach. Let's just jump into it. All right, so I'm going to be starting with doing the free website widget offer by calling the businesses, and I'm going to be using Go High Level to call businesses, but as mentioned, you should use your own phone with your own local number. It's going to be a lot easier than cold calling the US, because the people I'm going to be cold calling, they get a bunch of calls every single day, and a lot of people are tired about it. But with the script, hopefully we're going to be able to seem more genuine and actually get some conversations going. And once you set up your business, you can set up A2P inside of Go High Level, which allows you to get a local US phone number that you can do outreach from. Okay. All right, so we're going to be searching for Vienna Plumbing Repair up in the Google search bar just to make sure that we have them right here. We can see that we have them right here on Yelp, which doesn't really give us any kind of contact information. Okay, so there is nothing. So we are going to mark him as a yellow one, and we're going to be calling him again tomorrow. Then we continue to the next plumber, put it over in Go High Level. Damn. Right. We are going to be searching right here. We can see AB's Plumbing in Parkersburg. So what we're going to do is we are going to send him a message saying, hey, I tried to call you. Is this the best place to ask the question? And then we go into our sheet, we mark him as yellow, and then we click on send message on Facebook. That way we can also message that once we try to call him again tomorrow or later. Now we go to Dennis and Son Plumbing and Contracting. He has bad reviews. Let's see what happens. It's not her. Let's try to sit.
Yeah, hey, this is Oliver. The reason I'm calling is I'm working on a business project in plumbing, and I was on your website, and I was looking for a way to, get some replies from you guys or book. Just wanted to ask, how do people usually get answers and book appointments with you?
See, this is the low heating and cooling side. So if you're looking for plumbing, so our answering machine should have 3 different options there. It should take you to either heating and cooling, it should take you to plumbing, or estimates. If you just hit plumbing, that'll take you on over to plumbing. They'll take care of you there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, heating and cooling is perfectly fine as well. It's a similar business model,
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I was wondering with your customers, do they sometimes have to wait for a call or a text back from your company, or is it pretty much always answering?
We always answer pretty much.
Okay, so you don't think that if they would book appointments on the website, or if they could get immediate responses on the website, do you think that would, increase conversion or have less people go to competitors or something like that?
The best way to get a response from us would just be called directly in.
Yeah, because the reason I ask, and I don't even know if it makes sense for you, but for my business project, I want to make a free widget for the site that would always answer questions and can book people in. And if you guys like it, you guys could give a testimonial.
My boss could be okay with that. I'll go ahead and take your information down here, and I will hand it over to the big man that makes decisions. You know what I mean?
Is there a way to call him directly?
Unless like one of us hand you off to him, and he gives you his like direct line personally. That's probably the only way you could. And what was the company name you're with, or is it like?
I mean, company name could be Shiny, but yeah, it's kind of like just a small business project that we're trying to do.
Gotcha. I'll go ahead and hand this off to him the next time I see him, which should hopefully be here soon. And hopefully he can give you a call back and you guys can talk about this.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, so as you can see, even with a relatively big company, they have multiple services, multiple people picking up the phone trying to be active. You can actually get passed on to the owner, and maybe he'll call back, maybe he won't, but it's a good way to get in contact with them. And then what I would also do is I would go in to the Law and Plumbing Services LLC, and then I would try to look for them on Google. So as you can see, we found them right here. We can go ahead and message them that we called them. Just give them some context. Called you earlier and got on the phone. Is this the best place to ask a question? This way, we're hitting it from multiple angles. So it would really surprise me if someone doesn't get back to our message, because now the inquiry seems a bit more serious now that we're hitting them from multiple angles. And then we also got some heating and cooling lingo that we can actually throw in, and what I'm going to do if he picks up the phone, try to hit up JBus, see what's going on.
Yeah, hey, this is Oliver. The reason I'm calling is because I'm working on a business project in plumbing and heating and cooling and such. I was on your website, and there was no way to get like a quick reply or to see bookings or anything like that. So I was just wondering, how do people usually get answers?
We have a button on there, and then you can call us.
So do people usually sometimes have to wait for a call or a text back from you guys, or do you have a receptionist or something that's kind of taking all the calls?
We have a receptionist.
Do you think more people would book appointments if they could get answers and book immediately on the website?
We can't really book immediately on the website because due to the time that certain jobs take. So.
So you don't really use a calendar to book people in?
Yeah, we use a calendar, but we go on a job order, and it just depends on how long each job takes.
Yeah, the reason I ask is I don't even know if it makes sense for you, but for my business project, I wanted to make a free widget for one of the local businesses, and I just saw your site, and it would just be on there, answer a question, and then instead of booking people in, it could just get people to call you. But yeah, it would be free, and if you guys like it, you guys could give a testimonial.
I don't think we'd be interested in that at this time, but if you wanted to send us something to our email about it, I could show it to the owner. Yeah, our email is jbus.
Is there any way to just ask the owner about it, just to see if he'd be down for that?
He's not
He's
here,
completely free.
Yeah, he's not in the office today.
Okay, no worries. Do you know when he'd be in?
He works out in the field too as well, so he doesn't typically work all day in the office.
But yeah, I'll look for your email on the website and then see. I was just trying to do it for one of the local businesses, so maybe I'll just hit up the next one.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so what I would do back in the day when I get any receptionist is I would honestly just hang up the phone immediately, and I would probably advise you guys to do the same thing, and then avoid any Google reviews that are over like 100, because it's guaranteed going to be a receptionist. All right, let's try this guy. Yeah, hey, this is Oliver. The reason I'm calling is because I'm working on a business project in plumbing and damn. And by the way, where you will have a big advantage is because you have a local phone number. For example, right now I'm dialing in Charleston with a Boston phone number, so they might actually see that I'm not local, which is a big disadvantage. So I should probably have made a list in Boston, but if you do decide to get A2P, then try to match it with a region that you're going to be calling anyway, so that it looks like you're local. All right, no client or meeting today. However, I have a good feeling about some of the DMs that we send out. Usually people, they get back to us when we mention that we called, and if we can ask a question here, and we of course proceed with the DM script. I personally get back to people anytime I can, whether it's in my bed or at the gym or out while walking. I pull up the script on my phone, I copy it in, get responses back to people immediately when they are available. And yeah, we're going to follow up on people that we DM'd. We are going to try to call people again tomorrow. And then if you do get someone that will consider it, just make sure to follow up with them, hit them up on the DMs again, and then call them too. It is a grind and it is a volume game. And if you're just like me and hope that you would get a client on the first night of calling, then try again tomorrow and don't expect it to be in the first week either. But volume really negates luck. You could probably call 100 businesses just saying, hey, do you need AI? And one of them would say yes. But with this script, we actually get the opportunity to talk to a little bit more people, which will get us more yeses than just asking people if they want AI. And if you stay consistent in calling and DMing people every single day for the next 2 weeks or 4 weeks, I guarantee you that you're going to have your first client paying at least $29 a month. It is really simple. It is really just about staying consistent and doing a certain amount of volume for a certain amount of time. We're going to be focusing on how to actually close your first client. And it all starts by making sure that they show up to the meeting. However, don't be discouraged if some people don't show up to the meetings. It's a completely normal thing in the industry, especially also with some of the local service businesses. So don't be discouraged, book the next call, move on to the next person, and then just make sure to send some follow-up messages or call the businesses that no-showed. Anyways, this is how you do your absolute best to make sure that they actually show up to the call. First, while you cold call someone and they say yes to the meeting, open up your Google Calendar and ask them for their email. Then you agree to a time to meet and you put it on the calendar. And then once I have their email, I just type in their email and then you should see both your name and their name in here, and an automatic Google Meet has just been set up. Then once you've confirmed that their email is correct, then you click on save. And then this will pop up and you want to click on send, because what this will do is it's going to send them the invitation and it's going to pop up in their email and it's going to pop up on their calendar. And then the next step is to say, I've just sent you an invite. Can you check if the time is correct on your end? And then you tell them to confirm the meeting if it's the right time. Because they will get an email with the time, and then what it will look like on their calendar is this box that is not filled out completely. And they can then click on if they're going or if they are not. And if they click on yes, they will get automatic notification by Google to actually show up to this meeting. So this is one out of a few steps that we need to do in order to make sure that they are going to attend the meeting. And we do this very simply by just telling them to confirm the meeting if the timing looks correct on their calendar. And then the next thing we need to do in order to ensure that they actually show up is that we have a conversation with them, preferably a call on the day before. And this even applies if you talked to them just a few hours ago, because what we are doing here is we are saying, hey, Albert, I was doing some final touches on your demo. What is your exact opening hours and what product do you sell the most? When you ask them this question, not only are you showing them that you're actively working on their demo, that you're working hard, but they are also giving you commitment via their information, which is the most important thing, because they can feel that you are bringing value and that you are taking their information and you are actually developing and doing something for them. And it's in human nature that if we are given something of value, that we want to reciprocate somehow. And the way that they can reciprocate is by showing up to the meeting that you've already put effort into. So this is just showing them that we're committed to do a good job, that we're providing actual value, and it works as a reminder at the same time. Because what you're going to do is you're also going to just briefly ask if tomorrow/tonight, whatever time it is, tomorrow still works, right? And then there's two scenarios. Either they're completely upfront with you and they say, oh, actually tomorrow might not be good. Let me just double check, and you'll find a time that actually works. This is not a bad thing. This just means that they are actually going to prioritize the meeting, or they're going to tell you yes. And then 2 hours before the meeting, you either send them an email or an SMS saying, just want to send you a quick heads up about our meeting in 2 hours. Looking forward to it. So now we've done our absolute best in ensuring that they will actually show up to the meeting. If they end up no-showing, what I have always done that has sometimes gotten people to reschedule or hop on the call is go to the event where you were supposed to meet and then click on the email. And then what you're going to type in the message is just, hey Albert, were you able to make it? And then click on send. Because what this looks like is they will get a notification on their email with the event details, your email, and by sending them an email like this, it reminds them that they're supposed to join a meeting. And if they didn't show up, it shows that they let you down, which usually gets them to respond that they weren't able to make it or that you can reschedule, which is exactly what we want in this scenario. Now try to reschedule the time or try calling them again to make sure that it gets rescheduled. Now, when we've actually made sure that they show up to the meeting, there's a few things that we need to have in place in order to have the highest chance of actually closing them. And one of the most important things to actually bring to the sales call is a demo. And we have two different demos that we would have to make, and it's either a AI agent that we put on the website, or it's the website itself. And really quickly, I'm just going to show you exactly how I would create a demo. So first of all, for the website, you head over to your Go High Level account, you click on create a new website. You find it out in the sidebar here under sites. Go to websites instead of funnels. It always starts here. And then you actually just click on from templates, because here you have a ton of pre-built websites that are really good. And then you head straight up to the template section where you can search, and you just search for plumber. Try some different searches to see what has the most amount of options. And then you can see a quick preview of the templates, and you just choose the one that you like the best. I personally like this one, so I'm going to be choosing this template. And we are going to go with Home Solutions that has only a Facebook site. And here we have a bit of information that we can then use to actually create his website template. Now you can either turn off the logo in the menu or head back to one of the videos showing you exactly how to create their logo so that you can then insert their logo on their site. But we basically just want to make sure that we stick to their brand and that we insert their business info where it makes sense. I'm going to head back to the Facebook profile, and I would put in his phone number. I would put in their location. I would put in what kind of services they offer. And then I would take a look at some of the pictures just to see if it makes sense. So you can see right here, they have a bunch of services, and you don't necessarily need to put in all of them. I would just make sure that you've actually taken initiative and seen what it is that their phone number is, what their opening hours are, and what their services are. And then you can actually insert this into the website, and they will resonate with the website, and they will see the vision with the template even more. And this is really what we want. We want to be able to bridge that gap between what they want, which is more trust, a more professional looking business, more leads, and they want the best chances to make the most amount of money. And if you're able to bridge the gap between what it is that they want towards what they actually need, which a really good step in that direction is setting up a website. Once you make them realize that, they will be happy. They will be happy to go ahead and pay for the hosting, and they're going to be trusting you because you were able to give them this initial step towards having a better business. And you're going to be able to also help them further down the line. Getting them to say yes to this website and having us set it up for them is exactly what we want. And showing them a demo like this is exactly how we get them there. Now, if they already have a website and we want to set up a website widget for them, first you want to make sure that they don't have any way to actually get in contact with them, ask them questions, or book immediately on the page. And once you see that their website is looking really good, but they are just missing this component, we take their URL and copy it, and then we head over to create a sales agent. We then type in the business name, click on continue, click on website. we put in the URL, we select all pages, and what this does is it makes sure that it scans all of the sub pages that it has and then uses that information to put it into the AI. Click on continue. And then usually for the local businesses, we want a more relaxed tone. We pick English. We wanted to schedule appointments for them. And for now, we can skip this step and set up the Google Calendar later once we actually integrate it into their own calendars. Now we make sure that the hours of operations are correct from their website, and we make sure to make an appointment name, pest control appointment. And then we can make it an hour or 45 minutes. Add appointment type, select their time zone. This company is in Eastern time. And then because this is a demo, we can set up the email confirmation, the internal email confirmation, and the invites for the calendar. We can set that up after once we onboard them. And then it's going to create some custom questions for you for the conversation flow on how to actually book people in. And usually these are really good. And this is the exact framework that we've been using in our own agency to actually book more and more appointments. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and click continue, but you can change the conversation flow right here if you want it to be different. Perfect. So here we have the AI, and then we click on test in the bottom right corner, and we can start testing our AI to make sure that it's good. We're going to start by asking it, what services do you offer? We offer a wide range of services to handle about any pest issue you might have. This includes treatment for common household insects like ants, roaches, spiders. We also handle wildlife removal or critters, raccoons, squirrels, and bats. Have you been seeing pests inside lately, or is this more persensitive? I've been getting more and more ants. That's definitely annoying. Ants can be persistent once they find a way in. We can certainly help you get that sorted out. It's more peace of mind. I don't like ants. If you want to share their home with a trail of ants, we can definitely get a technician out there to take care of them for you. Would mornings or afternoons usually work best? Mornings are good. And right here, we can see that it's actually trying to scan our calendar for open slots, which is great. This means that it's actually working. We just need to connect their Google Calendar first. And this is also something that we can explain to them on the demo. Now that we have our template, we head over to demo, and this is where we actually sell it. And then we click on create a demo. We do the website widget. We call it Lamp Pest Proof. We choose the Lamp Pest Proof booking agent, and then we create a demo. Now, to prepare the demo the best way possible, we want to make sure that they see the vision. And then the best way we can show them the vision is by actually putting this on their website as a preview and making sure that the colors align and that it looks like it's already deployed. So what we can do is we can go in and we can take the URL and we can paste it in. And if the URL does not work, it's because they have some protection on the website. So what you can do instead is that you can take a screenshot of the website and then you can actually upload it instead. So we click on upload. We head over to desktop, we take the screenshot, and then we have the website right here. Now head up to the theme, make it light because you can see their website is mostly white. And then we want to click on a custom color. And then we use this one right here where you can actually select their exact color. Everything is perfectly aligned. And then we can also change the welcome message, which all of the people that go on the website and use the widget, they will see. So we can make it, hey, do you have any pests inside your home, to make it more relevant. And then when you go on the call, you click on view live and this will pop up and they will see the exact idea, given the exact vision and helping them bridge the gap between what it is that you're offering, how it works, and what kind of impact it has, which you will show them by going through a demo. Then what you do on the call is that you show them this, you let them try it themselves, and then prepare a question sequence that you know works really well, that showcases that it knows about their products, it knows about their opening hours, it knows about what kind of services they have. Maybe it already knows the prices, and then you show how it actually books people in. And this will just help them bridge that gap between what they have right now and what they could have without even mentioning that it's AI. It's just showing them exactly what outcome this would have. It would make sure that everybody that goes to the website can chat with something, can get their questions answered, it can handle objections, and then it can help book people in directly without having to call them. That means even outside of opening hours, people will be able to go in, ask questions, and book appointments. And you just showing them a really good demo like this just demolishes all of their objections, all of their skepticism, and it makes them want to implement this on the website. So a demo and a nice presentation, and also them trying it themselves, is a key part of the sales process. Over the past 3 years, I've personally closed over 100 clients for our AI and automation agency, which is now over 50K every single month. And my goal in this video is pretty simple. It's just going to be giving you the whole sales framework that we use and all of the key components of our whole sales process that got us to this exact point of hitting 50K every single month. So just jumping right into it, the first thing you need to do is open up your calendar to 7 days a week. This means you do sales calls on weekends too, because a lot of the really dedicated business owners that want to do business with you, they will be working on weekends and they want to hop on calls on weekends because oftentimes that is also when they have more time. So this will not only give you more sales calls, but this will also separate you from the competition that you might have. The next thing you need to be doing is responding to leads immediately when they come in, picking up the phone and calling them, shooting them a text if they don't pick up, and really just focus on that momentum that you have when a lead just signed up. Hormozi, he saw that a lead is 391% more likely to close if you call them and contact them immediately. You basically just need to be able to capitalize on this interest that they have when they first come in, and the faster you act, the higher likelihood you have of closing this prospect. The next thing you need to be doing is putting your calendar in 15-minute increments. Even if your sales calls are 1 hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever they are, put your calendar so that people can schedule with you in 15-minute increments. This will make it look like you have a lot of availability, and it will allow people to be a lot more flexible. So if they have meetings, clients to attend, or other priorities that they need to take care of, in these time frames, having 15-minute increments will just make sure that you have more options to choose from, and people will find more available slots when they're booking in with you. And then of course you need to have a booking reminder system in place. So whenever somebody books, make sure to send them a text to confirm the meeting, and also send them a text 24 hours before and then 2 hours before. That is the best way to engage people and make sure that they remember, because truthfully, we all have a lot of things that we need to do, especially with our business. And a lot of people, they can just forget if they're not reminded. And it's an honest mistake. It happened to all of us. But the point is, you will see that 20 to 30% more people will show up to your meetings if you just remind them. So get one of the Frigo high-level accounts inside of the 1%, or get your own. Set up some automations that basically just reaches out to people once they've booked a call, and just make sure that it's automatically set up. And then if you want to do even more due diligence with it, you can also call people once they scheduled or a day before the appointment, maybe even qualify them a bit. Who knows? But the point is that you need to have these touch points before the meeting in order to have more people show up to these meetings, because no-shows, they're annoying. And to actually lower the amount of no-shows that you get, you want to limit the amount of time that people can book ahead. And what this means is you need to limit people from booking weeks ahead or a week ahead. And what we've usually seen is that if we limit people to book within 1 to 3 days maximum, 3 days being the absolute max, then we see that a lot more people are showing up to these calls in general. And now for actually priming yourself to becoming the best salesperson, and also the key components that I've personally used to become this great salesperson, even though we were closing people and even though we were seeing good results, these are the key components that you need to use in order to keep improving yourself. The most important thing is to rewatch yourself selling. And whether that is first touch point over the phone, you need to re-listen to these phone conversations, or if it's recording your sales calls with something like Fathom.video, you need to be able to go in and identify where you go wrong. Even though it's just a small mistake, you can actually go in and you can pinpoint the exact mistake that you made, and then you make sure to improve that for the next meeting. Even though it wasn't a detrimental mistake, it's just something that could improve you as a salesperson. You go in, you review it, and you improve it for the next meeting. And if you keep doing this, you will prime yourself to be such a talented salesperson, and that you won't even make mistakes anymore, because you keep recouping, you keep keeping yourself accountable every step of the way. And then if you do see that you have some critical flaws in the way that you sell, my personal recommendation to you would be focusing on one thing at a time and going for the most important one. Because if you find multiple ones and you're constantly thinking on a sales call that you need to accommodate for all of these mistakes and you can't make them, you're basically going to end up kind of closing yourself off. And that's the last thing that we want on a sales call. So focus on taking one step at a time to make sure that you actually consistently improve, and not only think about all the things that you're doing wrong. Not only will this make it so that you focus on one thing at a time and constantly improve in these things, but it will also make sure that you do it faster because you're concentrating in one thing and then taking on the next thing after you've conquered that one thing, instead of thinking about everything that you're doing wrong and sort of overwhelming yourself. And if you are just starting out in an industry or you're just starting out with sales, you also have some great AI apps nowadays where you can go in and simulate a conversation, an AI that will basically just keep firing objections at you and will give you tough decisions and tough scenarios to handle. My suggestion would be asking ChatGPT about sales simulators or closer AIs where you can go in and actually actively train with an AI instead of having to do role plays with somebody else. But role plays back in the day, it was fun. It was something that could kind of keep you primed and keep you up to date before hopping on sales calls. But yeah, AI can do a great job with it now, and it's going to get you to a point where you can handle objections really seamlessly and you can get reviews on how you do and such. So yeah, either look into doing some role play where you keep firing objections and getting into tough scenarios with your partner, or you can do it with an AI where you actually go in and train these scenarios. Now, before the actual sale, you need to realize that every step that the lead took before going on a sales call with you was why they are on the sales call. So what you had in your ad, or what you said in the cold DM, or what you had in your funnel where they actually ended up booking the call. You need to make sure that your language and what you tell them on these meetings, they reflect what you've had throughout the whole thing, so you have some sort of consistency. Because if you have inconsistency throughout any place in your funnel, people are going to be confused and they're not going to be able to pinpoint their own objection, and you're just going to be stuck on a meeting kind of answering questions with a prospect that is not really sure if this is something that they need or something that they clicked on. So just make sure that every touch point that you've had with the client, every reflection that they had to make, it's somehow represented every step of the way throughout your whole funnel, and also when you hop on a sales call with them. And then you always want to frame it, especially within AI and automation, you want to frame it as hopping on a call with an expert. Because what this AI phenomenon is to a lot of business owners, it's kind of like a very technical, very scary jump to make. So going on a call, positioning yourself as an expert, and also calling yourself an expert or talk to an expert on the website is something that will actually drive a lot of traffic and will make people a lot more confident going into the call, because they know they're being led by an expert, and that expert being you have to go in and kind of guide them through this whole process. Now, before you let people just schedule a meeting, you need to qualify them on a few different metrics, and Hormozi, he made the BANT qualification, which basically just stands for budget, authority, need, and timing. And these, they have to be checked early just to protect your own time. So what this means is, and you need to basically just check them that they actually have a business, that they have a budget for what you're selling, that they are in fact the decision maker, and that they need this AI to actually go in and fix issues for them. You need to qualify them before you call them. And what this means is you basically just need to go in and you need to qualify them on if they actually have a budget for what you're trying to sell, if you're going to be talking with the decision maker, and if this decision maker in this business, if they have an urgent need for what it is that you're selling, and if the timing is right for them. And often with AI, timing is not going to be an issue at all. Timing is just implementing something that will be cheaper than what they currently have, or help them get more time back than what they currently use. And once you've actually qualified that it won't waste your time to hop on a call with them, a really smart way to book in a call, whether you're using the phone, you're using your DMs, there is a assumptive close to close people on a meeting. And you can ask them, does Tuesday or Wednesday work for you? Or does 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. work for you? This is sort of an assumptive close. It leaves them with two options, and either one leads them to a meeting with you. And in general, this is a great way to book more people in. It just drives them towards a decision. You basically give them two options, but these two options, they lead them straight to you anyways. And then once the time comes for the actual call, a huge thing that you can do is literally spend 5 minutes just researching. You can often even see on their email domain when it says oliver@shiny.ai, just copy in the URL, see what it is that they're doing, and then reference it when you join the meeting. It shows that you did your homework, even though you only spent 5 minutes, and it's going to have people listen to you. It's just going to make sure that it looked like you really did your homework. It's going to set up the call for success. It's going to set the tone for the meeting. You're going to have a way better prospect that's going to be listening and going to be interested. They notice the effort and it builds more trust immediately. Now, when you have them on the call, imagine just for 1 second that you are going into the doctor's office and you walk in through the door, and you might have a small reference to the weather, where they are located, what time it is, whatever it is, just to break the ice, you might have something like that. But when you go into the doctor's office, the first question he asks you is, why are you here? And that is the perfect question to answer once you've built a little bit of rapport, broken the ice somehow. You ask them why they scheduled the meeting, what made them schedule, what made them interested, however you book them in. Just make sure that they express why they are here. And the next kind of question just kind of flows naturally, because what you want to do here is you just want to find out where they are hurting. And what I mean by that is not that they actually have a pain. It just means that their business has a pain point. So for example, if I'm a business owner and I get a ton of leads from all of my marketing funds, I come in to you and explain that I have a pain because my business is bleeding money because we're not converting enough leads. And this will basically show me that you have the need of an AI that automatically reaches out to your leads, books more people in, does automatic follow-up. And what your job is here is basically just to keep asking questions to identify this exact pain, why it's happening, and then pitch a solution. It's really, really simple, but the best way to think about it is you don't go through the doctor's door and he just tells you, you need this pill. Because you're not going to trust that, because he hasn't listened to you. He doesn't know what your problem is. Even though all of your sales calls probably sound pretty much the same, and you know exactly what their pain point is just before they walk in the door, this process is extremely important and you cannot skip it, even though it might seem so sometimes. So yeah, the doctor approach is the number one way and the number one reason that we've been able to close all of the deals that we've had. It's just about asking good questions and then giving them a good solution for the exact pain point. Which actually brings me to the next point, and it's about tonality. It's kind of the way that I'm talking to you right now. I'm not really trying to sell you anything. I'm really just your friend, And I think that is the most important thing to realize when you go into sales. It might seem a bit transactional, booking a meeting, talking about services, talking about how to help each other. But really, at the end of the day, what you need to go in and do is you need to be their friend. And the more casual you can make the conversation, and really, that's what it is. It's just a conversation. You keep it super casual, and it seems like a friend-to-friend conversation. That's how it's supposed to feel like. And what me and Albert, we did in the beginning, which was stupid when you think back about it, is we created a PowerPoint and we kind of made this presentation of what it is that we were selling, and it wasn't converting. It wasn't nice. I ended up talking 80% of the time. They ended up talking 20% of the time. And what you actually want to do is quite the opposite. You want to go for the 80-20 rule, which basically just means that they will be doing the talking 80% of the time, and you will be doing the talking 20% of the time by asking questions, showing a case study, and then going from there. A more realistic approach to this is they will most likely be talking 60% of the time and you will be talking 40% of the time, which is also fine. But the main point of this being that they should be doing the talking, they should be the ones expressing their pain points, and you should be spending time showing them a brief demo, showing them a testimonial, and then pitching this as a solution to their exact pain point. And showing a testimonial is going to be infinitely better than anything you can show them on a PowerPoint. And together with a demo, you're basically going to be unbeatable, because it's what it's all about. It's then positioning this demo, showing the testimonial as the demo being applied to an actual business that is in a similar position, and then you go from there. And then the conversation was really only friendly. It was just about finding out what the pain points were, and it was about showing what you've done for other clients, and then going from there. Because at the end of the day, what we just use these questions for is just positioning the offer. It's about finding out if they genuinely need our help, and it's about finding out where they are struggling in their business to see how we can apply ourselves the best way possible. It's never really about the sale, and once you get that mindset of it's never really about the sale, that is when you'll actually start converting more people, because now it's about helping people. It's no longer about selling something or getting a commission. It's really just about helping people, and when people are resistant to the help, it's about finding out why they might be resistant to that help, because who wouldn't want help, especially if you know the product is good. And that is also why we have the testimonial. is because we want to prove that the product works, and we're not trying to implement something that we don't think is working just for a commission. So we really just use these questions to uncover their pain points and then give them a goal and talk about their desires of where they actually want to be. And then we use our solution as the natural answer to their pain points. Simple as that. Now, when you join the actual sales call, you just want to set the agenda and set some clear expectations. What I usually say is, this meeting is basically just going to be figuring out whether we'd actually be a good fit to work together or not. So it's just going to be a couple of questions from my side, and you can feel free to answer any questions that you want on your side. And then if we're a good fit to work together, I'll show how it works, what it looks like, everything like that. So it's really simple. It's just setting all the expectations and, again, being super casual about it. Not sounding salesy is very important. Just make it casual, make it friendly. Don't make them watch a PowerPoint or be super formal for no reason, just like me and Albert did in the beginning. And then to break down the call as simply as I possibly can, I've used Hormozi's closer framework, which basically just means CLOSER framework, which stands for clarify why they're here. So first clarify the problem, then label their current state versus their desired state. And then you give them an overview of why they are experiencing this pain, and then also give them the urgency to why they actually need to fix this pain right now with you on this call. And then S, you need to sell the vacation. You need to sell this desired outcome that they need to be moving away from to get that desired result or get that desired outcome that you're talking about on the meeting. And then there is E, which is just explain. So you just need to be explaining your offer, you need to be explaining the outcome, and you need to do it in a relatable manner where it is in their business terms, which basically just means don't get too technical with the AI stuff. Explain what the AI does and why it brings them their desired outcome and how it dissolves their current pain. And then you have R, which is basically just reinforcing what they are asking for on the meeting and how your solution actually sells them that vacation, gives them that desired outcome, and then make the ask for the close. It's an extremely simple framework. It's called the Closer Framework by Alex Hormozi, the GOAT himself, which brings me to the actual closing. And when you make the ask of actually closing somebody to move ahead or collect payment or whatever it is that you're asking people to do, you need to just shut up. You need to ask them, make your ask, and then shut up, see the reaction. A lot of people, they get uncomfortable when there's silence, when people are thinking, because what shutting up will actually do is it will create this space of no one talking while your prospect does the thinking, and they will have to come up with a response. And even though it might seem a bit uncomfortable, this is the best approach to actually getting a prospect to either come up with their objection or actually just moving ahead with your solution. And then if they come up with any questions or any objections, it might be a tense moment, but don't be nervous here, because this is the most important part where you don't want to seem nervous or inconfident, because this moment is kind of vulnerable, especially for the deal itself. Right here, the prospect needs to see that you're extremely professional and that you're going to be able to take their objection and actually handle it. So don't be shocked and take your time to actually respond to the question and be confident in your response. Because what you actually want to do in a situation where they come up with an objection, and I'm going to show you the exact framework that we use to actually handle these objections here in a second, but what you want to do is you want to be able to ask questions about what they said to actually unveil exactly what it is that they actually have the objection about. Because oftentimes people will just kind of say, oh, I don't have time right now, or I don't know if this is a good fit, or something like that, something that's more of like a smokescreen to put up. It's not really the real objection. So what you want to do is you want to be able to ask good questions about the objection. I'm going to be showing you exactly how to do it here in a second. Because at the end of the day, it's about really being curious. And I've stressed this in so many of my videos, but being childlike curious on someone's business, on their pain points, on what their desired outcomes are, what results they want to achieve, is the truly best way to get someone to a point where they want to work with you. Being childlike curious. And what I mean by that is, like, you often have a child asking you a bunch of questions about why do you do that, and why do you do this, and how do you do that. And that's basically how you want to keep it. You want to keep it super casual, and you want to ask a bunch of questions to make sure that the prospect feels heard and that you're actually fixing their pain point instead of just pitching them something. Because something you also have to keep in mind is the truth is whoever controls the questions and whoever's the one to ask all the questions are actually the one that controls the conversation. So you're controlling what the conversation is about and also where the conversation is headed. And this is super important for keeping a framework and also to go through sales calls without wasting both parties' time. One thing that is important when you do get these objections is that you don't hard disagree with your prospect, because that will just be bad vibes. And the way that you actually handle this is you redirect the conversation gently, and then you can make whatever point you want. The way we actually peel this onion is just by asking good questions. So if somebody says, I think it's too expensive, then you just say that you think it's too expensive compared to another product or another solution. And then they're gonna be like, no, but it might be too expensive for me because I'm not getting enough traffic, or something along those lines. And then you ask another question and you say, oh, so the amount of traffic you get on your website right now, you don't think it's worth implementing an AI? And then they're gonna say, oh, yeah, that's correct. Okay, so are you getting these emails and these leads and these phone calls that we talked about earlier on the meeting? Where do they come from? Do they come from this website? And is that what's taking all of this time? And they're going to say, yeah, it comes from the website. You know, it might come also from Facebook or Instagram or something like that. And then you could say, oh, well, then would it help you if 80% of all of the calls from the website, then also from Facebook and Instagram, if they were just handled by an AI, how much time do you think that's costing you? And they could say, yeah, it would help. I'm probably spending like an hour on it or something like that. And the reason you have this onion is because you need to peel it by asking good questions, not just by impaling it and disagreeing with it, because then you're never going to be closing the sale that way. So you just have to keep asking good questions, understand where they are coming from and where their concern is, so that you can actually go in and directly address these concerns. Like he was originally saying that it's too expensive, but he was actually just in disbelief if this could solve his pain point, because he was getting leads from multiple sources. So it's basically just a way of finding the true disconnect between your solution and what they want, and going in and addressing it in a nice, comfortable way and helping them make a decision based on information rather than just being disconnected or misunderstanding each other. And now I'll go through some of the strategies that I use throughout the sales meeting to basically just save more time, to address their concerns better, and to overall just be a better salesperson. Just like we had this BANT qualification earlier before they hopped on a call, we actually also use that when we ask questions about salespeople or the support requests that they get. For example, if you are on a call with someone and you're trying to sell them a support AI in their email or on their website, and the first thing that they tell you, or the first thing that you ask them to tell you is, okay, how many website visitors do you get and how many inquiries do you get in your email? And they say, well, I don't have any visitors at all and I don't get any emails. I'd like to get them and it sounds cool that I could have an AI. Then they disqualify themselves on the need. They actually don't need this AI. And of course, they could force you to go in and sell it to them and develop it to them, because maybe they want to be preemptive on some of these things, and that's not a problem. But you need to go in and qualify people on this, and then just be upfront with them. Tell them it might not make sense for us to work together if you don't have any website traffic. And then you could also ask them a question about, have you thought about doing this preemptively for when you get website traffic? And is that why you decided to book the meeting? But this is basically also doing the qualification in a subtle way on the call by just asking about their processes or asking about their current state of the support or the sales. Another strategy that I often use is if somebody hits me with a question that I don't know exactly how to respond to, I need to buy myself a bit of time. And the best thing not to do is get shocked or start saying, and start acting confused. So the best way could be repeating their question back to them to buy yourself more time. So if a prospect asks you, I'm not sure if this AI thing is compliant where I live. And you could say, so you're not sure if the AI is compliant and where do you live? Just all of this talking is not only buying you time in your own mind, now you also have him kind of responding and elaborating on the question. And then he tells you, oh, I live in Spain. You automatically know that it's GDPR. Maybe you even sort of knew that before he joined the call that he was in Europe. And then you have time to kind of address the situation and make a small list of why the AI actually is compliant, instead of maybe losing the sale right there because this is his main concern and you're unsure or you're not confident in your response when you say it back to him. Even though you might know that it's fully compliant, but when you are shocked or not confident in the response that you give, this might throw him or her off and not move the deal forward. And one of the closes that I like to use is the 1 to 10 close, which basically is just saying, out of everything that we talked about today and everything that I showed you, what would you rate it on a scale from 1 to 10? And then they might respond with an 8, and they might be unsure about something. And you first have them sell you on why they think it's an 8. So you say, well, 8 is pretty good. I would take an 8 any day of the week. And then you ask them, why is it an 8? What do you like about it? And they're going to start listing all of the good things, all of the things that they liked. And then once they've done a bit of selling themselves on what they actually liked about what you showed them and about what you talked about, you ask them what would make it a 10 and what would take it from 8 to 10. And then either they will actually give you the reason that it's not a 10, and that is usually the best prospects because they know what they want. But other people might be not 100% sure about why they're not sure. And one question that I really like to ask here is kind of zooming out on the big picture, right? Like saying phrases like, what do you think the worst outcome could be? Or what scenarios are you running through your head? Or my personal favorite is, what would make it a no? So if you were to continue with the proof of concept, the demo that we want to make for you, or what if we were to continue with the week trial that we were talking about, what would make you regret that decision? Asking that question brings out the objection 99 out of 100 times, and I love it. And you get to that point by asking them this 1 to 10 question, which is a close by Hormozi, so you know it works. But then again, it's all about understanding where any hesitation, any objection, anything stalling them, anything holding them back from actually proceeding, that is all we want to get to the bottom of, just so we can help them make a better decision. And now you understand exactly how you get people to this point where they actually make this informed decision and you can actually sell them something that will help them. And a key component to doing that is also changing your mindset slightly. And the way we really reinforce this is by changing our mindset and our philosophy about the sales call and also in general about doing business with other people. The first thing that really changed everything for me was realizing that you need to put your prospect and the person first, because what that will do for you is you're going to be a doctor. You're going to have someone walk in through your door and they're going to talk to you about their pain points, about their hardships in life and what's really holding them back from becoming this great version of themselves. And you're genuinely going to care. You're genuinely going to be out to help people and you're going to be there for them. You're not going to be there for you. And I think realizing that you're actually helping people is one of the most important steps of actually overcoming this, not just doing it for a commission or not just doing it to close a sale. You need to make sure that this is something that is closed based on the value that you can provide and the outcome it will actually give to your clients. And then you have the volume negates luck phrase by Hormozi, which is genius. It basically just means that you can put so much volume out there and it will negate any bad script, any bad sales framework, any bad objection handling. If you're going to go on enough sales calls, at some point you're going to have someone say yes to you. And along the way, you're going to get a ton of practice, and you're going to be a lot better at not only selling, but talking to people. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's about talking to people. It's about asking questions, finding pain points, and helping people reach the solution of actually solving those pain points. And this is also why if you have bad leads in the beginning, you're just reaching out, you'll take and hop on a call with literally any business. This is not bad. This is the beginning, and someone else's trash is your gold. You're gonna have a lot of repetition in talking to people over the phone, pitching an idea, hopping on a sales call, getting a bunch of objections from these business owners that absolutely hate spending money. And it's going to be fantastic because it's going to give you exactly what you need to advance and get better clients and close more deals and become a better version of yourself. You're not only a better salesperson, but also a better business person, better at identifying pain points and better at positioning your offers. repetition is going to make you great, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that can't really just be taught. You need to actually go out and get the experience, and repetition and experience and repetition and experience. That is what is going to get you further ahead than anyone else. And that is all of the components that we have used in our 50K a month AI agency to consistently close more clients and have a sales funnel that is successfully operating and getting results and expanding on an ongoing basis, where we are not only succeeding, but we are also improving the funnel, and we're improving as people, and we're constantly learning. And I think at the end of the day, that is really what the goal of all of this will be. It's going to be about creating yourself, helping people along the way, and then becoming a better business person and a better salesperson and a better person. I'm going to be showing you exactly how you should land your first AI client that you can then upsell into further AI services. But right now, it's really just about closing that initial deal, where we're going to be providing a lot of value up front so that we gain their trust. We show them how hard we work, how much quality and time we put into the projects, so that we can then help them be this internet partner that Albert also keeps talking about, where they can always use you if they want some sort of automation, if people aren't showing up to their appointments, if they want to do any campaigns, if they have any questions about getting more leads or anything along those lines. We just want to be able to show them that we provide value first, because the reason that we're closing them on this free widget and this free website is because we really just want our foot through the door. Because once we have our foot through the door, that's when they trust us to really do some projects for them, and where we can actually charge, and where we're able to provide more solutions that actually has a bigger impact on their business. The first sales framework that we're going to be going through is the free website sales framework. It starts by setting some clear expectations for what the call is going to be about, and then it goes into asking them about what actually interests them about going on this call. And the reason we do this is because this is the first step of actually starting to sell something to themselves, because what this question actually does, it tells you the exact reason that they're actually interested in this website. So maybe they thought about getting a website done, maybe it was too expensive before, maybe they just didn't know how to do it. Whatever it is, there's a reason that they're on the call now, and you should use that to your advantage. And just them explaining the reason that they're on the call, they're actually already selling themselves on the website itself. You tell them, as you know, I created a free website in exchange for a testimonial. The point of the website is to look more trustworthy and professional online. This is the exact outcome that a website will give them. And this is also how we sell throughout all of our upsells, all of our solutions, is we always position it against the outcome. We never talk about, oh, it's going to be up 24/7. People are going to be able to click on some boxes in there. They're going to be able to do bookings. And selling outcomes is something that we do throughout our entire AI agency. Whatever the solution is, whoever the client is, we always position the outcomes rather than the features. The difference between selling a feature and selling an outcome is saying your website is going to be up 24/7. That is a feature. Then an outcome is saying your website is going to make your business look a lot more trustworthy, and people are going to be able to book automatically on the site. Now, the framework goes down to ask some questions, and this is usually just to get a little bit more information about who we are dealing with, so that we can actually understand and ask better questions. So, who is your main customer? What are you selling the most of? How are people finding your business right now? And what have you tried to get more customers? Do you think it could help having a website to more people finding your business? The reason we ask this question is because it's a need generating question. When you ask them if they think that a business could help them get more clients, if they say yes to this, they are already enforcing that a website can really make an impact. So instead of you telling them that a website can get you more clients and them having to believe it, they now enforce themselves in that belief that a website can bring them more clients, which is infinitely more powerful than you just saying it to them as a statement. Then we explain to them that we made the demo, we can always improve it, and it will answer people's questions, handle objection, and make it easy for people to contact them. And then we're actually going to do the live walkthrough of the demo, which was the one that we just made before, where we're going to be showing their website layout in the background. Then we are going to walk them through a live demo of the website, where you took some of the information that they gave you on the call, you maybe found something on their Facebook, and you implemented it onto the website. You're going to be showing them how it looks, so the whole website layout. If they had a shitty website before, or if they had a Facebook profile or something like that, then you can show a before and after, and they can really see the difference. Then you go over all of the conversion features, and what this means is basically just whatever you put on the website to ensure that people are more likely to go with their company. It could be something like social proof, showing their Google reviews, it could be specific info like their pricing, or it could be a CTA button like contact here and them automatically calling them on their phone. And then the way that we get their honest opinion on the website is we ask them to rate the website from 1 to 10. If they say under 10, then we ask them what could possibly make it a 10. So if they say that they don't really like the colors or that the pictures are not them, then that is the exact objection. They don't think that it aligns with their brand or that they will actually be able to get bookings. So then you can always tell them right here. So if we were able to put in some pictures, maybe some that you took yourself, and change the colors to fit more with your brand, would that make it a 10? Which is basically like asking them, if we fix this, will you implement this website and do you want it? So then if they say it's 10 or they say yes to what we just asked them, then we tell them that we can either set it up for them or we can send it to them so that they can get it up and running themselves. And then we ask, what do you prefer? And this is our way of closing them. So we have two different scenarios here. Either they ask you about sending it over, which really means that they are a bit skeptical about what you setting it up means and if there's going to be any charges. And then we use that opportunity to actually explain it to them that it's not that dangerous anyways. Or there's a scenario where they say, you just set it up for me. And then you explain how it works. This is a really smooth way to close them and position your offer in a really non-salesy way, which is exactly what we want and what actually increases the conversion rate of this sales call. Then we have a little bit of objection handling here. We make a special offer so that they can say yes now. The offer is saying that we pay for the hosting for 3 months. We don't really pay for hosting because you can just host it through Go High Level that you either pay for or you get for free through us. And all they would need to do is get their domain, which they want to buy because that is going to be their own name, basically like a username on the website. So basically just explaining that offer to them, making it a no-brainer that they can try it for 3 months without paying for anything else than a domain, and then making a decision if it's worth keeping or not. Once you have the confirmation that they want to proceed, you're going to send them the $29 a month payment link or the first invoice, and then you tell them that you're going to be implementing these changes that they asked for, or you can tell them that you're instantly going to set up this call to actually help them set everything up. And then we explain to them that we need to get a domain. It's basically like the website name representing you on Google. I can help you get one. They're usually around $10. And that's also what the call is going to be for. What I would suggest right here is that you look at their business name, you go on Namecheap and GoDaddy, and you ask ChatGPT maybe also to come up with domain names that fit with their business, come up with 5 or so, and then bring it to them on the call. Make sure it's relatively cheap, because what that does, it just decreases the friction that it takes for them to actually make a decision on what kind of domain to get and how to get it. So you just help them buy a domain that you suggest that looks clean and is for their business and has their business name in it. And then you get access to their profile, and then you start setting it up for them. And then we have a really similar sales framework for the widget. The only difference here is that we have created a demo and created them a free AI widget in exchange for a testimonial. The goal with the widget is to help you convert more website visitors by answering questions and booking more leads automatically. We ask them the same questions to understand who their customers are, but we ask them a different questions to create the need. In here, we ask them, do you ever miss out on customers because you're not responding fast enough? Because if they ever miss phone calls or are too long to respond to text in these industries, usually that leads to people going elsewhere, going to the competitors. And then when they confirm that they are either missing calls, slow at responding text, and they have people going to competitors, we ask them, do you think having an assistant that can answer questions, handle objections, and book leads could help you get more out of your website traffic? Because what this does, it creates the need for the website widget when they respond. Then we go straight into the live demo, and we just make sure that they understand that this is just a demo, that it will be improved further. And then you walk them through the live widget. You show them the widget responses, and you put in the website in their background like I showed you. And then you put in their website where it can now handle FAQs. You can put in some objections. You can also book in calls. You basically want to prepare some questions that actually shows the capabilities of the widget. And then you can always let them try it after also just to see it. And then once you've shown it, you use the 1 to 10 close framework. It's the exact same like I just explained to you with the website widget. Usually if they say it's below 10, their exact objection comes out, and you can tell them that if you were to fix this within the AI widget, would they go ahead and implement it on their website? That's basically what we're asking them. And then for the close, it's the exact same smooth close. We're telling them that we built the AI using Build My Agent, and they'll need something similar to run it. If they already have it, you could just send over the prompt. If not, I'm paying for it so I can host it for you and keep it running for just is $29 a month. That way you don't need to buy anything extra. You just be quiet here, wait for a response, and then see what they say. And then if they want you to set it up, just say, yeah, I can totally do that. I built the website widget for free, but the hosting always has a small cost. If you cover the $29 a month, I'll handle the setup and keep it updated as well. It's a no-brainer. And then if they are a bit resistant here, you also have the backup offer where you can say, no worries at all. If you want, I can cover the hosting for the first 3 months. All you need to have is a website where I can add it. Then you get to see if it brings in any leads. And after 3 months, you can decide if it's worth keeping. It's a super fair offer. It's $29 to host, and you're going to be covering that for 3 months, which means that they have a ton of time to actually set up and see if this widget has any impact. And then they freely get to make a decision whether to keep it or not. And this offer won't affect your ability to upsell them at all, because we're still going to be implementing a framework that I'm going to be showing you in one of the next videos where you can actually consistently upsell the clients. And then you send the payment link, and if they had any objections or any requirements for the AI, make sure that you mention that you're going to be updating it. And then you can ask them to either set up a new meeting, or if they are available for the next 30 minutes to actually set it up. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the framework that we use to upsell all of our clients, and the way that you'll be able to upsell that $29 client into an actual paying client. And the way that we do that is we implement a framework that I call the check-in framework. The check-in framework is basically setting up a meeting every 7 days with your client where you have a check-in to make sure that their website or their widget is running, that there's no issues. And once they are happy, this will help you keep on the clients for a longer period of time, because they won't churn, because you're actively asking them if everything is okay. And if 1 week something is not okay, you have the opportunity to instantly fix it, instead of the client being annoyed about it and then churning at some point. And then on weeks where your client is super happy with everything and there's no need to change or update anything, you're going to be having small, normal, super casual conversations with them about their sales process. You can ask them if they miss any calls during the week. That's how you upsell them into voice AI or SMS AIs. Basically just starting a conversation around some of these subjects where you can actually go in and improve their process with automations and AI. And what you should do is you should head all the way back until day 5, where you do niche research, and you're going to be taking your industry and your prompt, head over to ChatGPT, copy in the prompt, and then put in your industry. And here you're going to get an exact pain point list of how AI can positively impact their business and get them better results. So you can start conversations around the chatbot for their SMS, their WhatsApp, their social media, wherever it is that they get the most amount of inquiries. And the way you want to start these conversations is just like you learned in the sales training. You want to go in there like a doctor. You want to ask them if they have a pain point, how long they've been having it, what they tried to fix it, and then really having genuine conversation and being genuinely curious. That way they create the need for the solution that you're going to be selling to them themselves, and then you can implement it for them. We've made a list of how to build all of the AIs and how to sell them inside of the 1%. So if that makes sense for you, you can go in and check that out, or you can have some of these casual conversations with the business owners and then try to implement them yourself. But this is how you go from the $29 to charging $150 a month or $300 a month for some of these solutions. And you can do this multiple times with the same clients to actually get your MRR, which is your monthly recurring revenue, get it up to 1K, 2K, or 3K, so that you can start running ads and actively investing into your business. I'm going to be giving you one of the highest yielding strategies that you could be using for your AI agency and pretty much anything that you do in life at this point. Referrals, they tend to have a higher lifetime value, which basically just means that they stay with you for longer, they spend money faster, and they have overall more trust in you. And the way that you can get your referrals to compound to other referrals is nothing like ads, because ads, they are scaling linearly, but referrals, they don't scale linearly, because they scale quadratically. It means that when you get one referral, that turns into 2 clients. And then when you get that referral, he turns into 4 clients. And those 4 clients all refer one person, it turns into 8 clients. So it's scaled and it compounds in a whole different way than what your ads does or what your outreach then normally do. The most important thing in getting referrals is you have to have a pretty damn solid product, meaning onboarding, setting clear expectations, delivering a good service, and delivering good results. Because what you need to consider is that if they have to go out and pitch for you and get a referral for you, their ass is on the line. And that means they are risking their reputation, they're risking a bit of disappointment, they're risking looking a little bit foolish if it all goes bad. So you need to set some really clear expectations, and you need to be delivering some really good results at the same time, which is also essential when it comes to actually asking for the referral. To have the highest likelihood of somebody referring, you want to be asking people to refer at good times. This could be after a really successful onboarding. It could be right after hitting the first result, when you get to new milestones, or even after you fix issues really fast and you see your client happy. We want to catch them at these high pitch moments, because at the end of the day, when they are happy, they're going to want to tell someone about it. So it might sound really simple, but you have to make these asks at high pitch moments when their goodwill will be high. And goodwill basically just means that when you just did them a favor, or when they just saw a really good result, or when they're really happy, that is when they have goodwill. That's when they actually want to help you. They want to give you back. That's how people work. When somebody gives us something, when we're happy, we want to give something back. That is just how we work. And when you ask, it's really important that you distinguish between who, not how. And when it comes to how to actually ask, it's really important that you distinguish between who and not if. And what I mean by this, there is always two ways to ask a question like this. And either you sit down and you ask them, who do you know that could use this? It puts them in a position where they have to really think about, who do I know? Because if you ask the question a little bit differently and you go for a question like, do you know somebody? You're asking if they know somebody. You're not asking who, you're asking if. And it's a very easy way to make a conclusion when you're asked, do you know anybody that could use this? You could say no. But when I ask you, who do you know that could actually use this? You start thinking. So we need the client in a state of mind where they have the goodwill, that they want to help you, and then you want to ask, who do you know? Because they're going to think about who they know. They're going to start about thinking, who can I actually give this pitch to, and who could actually benefit from this, and not just leaving you with a no, because quite frankly, that is the easiest option for them. And there's two very important things when it comes to actually how to ask this. You want to position it in a way where you make it about their success. There was a study done that showed that people that were in something together, that referred each other to something, had way higher success. It could be that two people that referred each other, they compare the results that they get, they are more committed to the project. There's multiple ways where you can actually go in and make it about their success so that their campaigns will be better. They can compare it with their friends and they all get better results. And then you also want to make it about actually helping a friend, because if they see great results with what you're providing and they are a good friend, of course, they would want to help their friends in need. So make it about their own success and also make it about helping their friend. Those are two very key points when you are asking for somebody to refer you to somebody else. And now you have multiple ways of what to actually give the referral, because we are also transactional. I think everybody, they like a bit of motivation, and at the end of the day, it's not really bad. Just make sure that everyone is rewarded in a situation like this. So what you want to go for is two-sided rewards. And you could do this by making sure that your client gets something and that their friends get something too. And for example, this could be saying, if you refer a friend, I will give you your next AI for free, and I will be setting up your friend with the initial AI to book appointments, sell more products, whatever it is that their friend will be dealing with. Make sure that they both get something. It could also be your client gets a credit towards their appointments or towards their AI subscription with you, and their friend, they get a discount off their initial AI or a free AI. Anything like that, something that rewards both sides, is something that is really important when you actually do these referral deals. And then it's important that they get something upfront, something valuable, something that relates to cash or something that they really want. They get it upfront when they successfully refer someone. I think one of the biggest mistakes that Albert and I made in our referral
journey is that we were only giving percentage of revenue, which means that they would have to make the referral, we would have to onboard them, we'd have to launch the campaign, and we'd have to be successful in everything that we do, which oftentimes just made it look a bit unattractive, because if they referred someone, it might even take a few weeks or a month before they got anything in return, and what they got in return might be low, might be high. They couldn't really see the ROI in helping us, and that was a problem. So giving them something upfront, which could either be credit, could be discounts, it could be a gift card, it could be something that they want if they want another AI or if they want to run a different campaign. Give them some appointments, give them some discount. It's not going to hurt you at the end of the day, and if you get a referral from it, it's totally worth it. And something else that you can add to this is you could tell them that if they bring on a referral within the next 14 days, the next 20 days, or 30 days, this is when they can unlock this bonus. So putting a time frame on it, making it limited, will also create some urgency. And you could also see some success with people that are not usually urgently doing something. They like the idea, but they're not going to do it. So actually adding this limited time offer for both of them to get free AI or both of them to get a discount and some credit, that is also another way where you can actually go in and make sure that this gets done in a timely manner and it doesn't just get pushed away all the time. Because we've had clients that said, yeah, I have a few people I can introduce you to, let's talk about it on the next meeting, and then I'm going to see them next month. And, all of these things, it's something that pushes timelines back. And you can avoid that by making sure that you have some limited time offers for them. And lastly, you have to consider that there will be some sort of friction. They have to go out of their way to help you with this. So you have to be able to make this as frictionless as humanly possible. And this means that you give them some material, you give them some text, you give them a small pitch, give them something in writing, give them an email template. Whatever it is, just give them something to forward either on text or on email to make it effortless on their end, so they don't need to reinvent anything and they can really just send this over and then you take it from there. And that also brings me to the next thing. You can often just ask for contact information or three-way introductions. The best thing that you can ask for is a three-way introduction where you get added into a WhatsApp group or you get CC'd on an email thread. Anything like that will make sure that you can actually take the responsibility on you to make sure that you follow up, that you answer any questions that they might have, so that they don't need to ask each other these questions and there might be some uncertainty. And again, friction will stop people from moving forward or doing something for you. So the more responsibility that you can put on yourself, the higher likeliness of success you will see. So get them to create a group chat, get a three-way introduction, make some material, something that they can send, something they can forward to the referral. So yeah, referrals are one of the highest ROI growth channels in your business. They spend more, they cost you less, they stay longer. It's a win-win situation for everybody. And if you're able to nail this strategy, your business should technically be able to grow forever. So all you have to do is deliver a win and then make your ask at an appropriate time where the client has goodwill and wants to help you. And then you want to make sure that you give something that is truly valuable to both parties, both your client and their friend, and then make sure to make it effortless for your client by setting up a three-way introduction or giving them some ready to send material that they can text or that they can forward to their friend. And then you should have two really happy people that you can interact with, and hopefully you'll get a lot more clients using this strategy.
In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to get really good testimonials that you can use on your website. You can send it to potential clients and you can use them to get more clients. We do this by making interview style testimonials that I call clip farms. And the way that we do this is we ask them really good questions like, what was the biggest concern you had about partnering with me? Then having them answer it. Then what is your super honest opinion about the website I made? And then having them answer that. That way people get really engaged by hearing these questions being answered, and you can set them up on on your website, and people will really talk towards the main objections that people usually have, like setting up a free website. Maybe it's just bad, or maybe there's a catch. And what was the biggest concern? Oh, I thought the AI was going to be extremely bad, or sound really robotic, or just scare my customers away. Things like that are what actually converts people. Hearing from other business owners that your AIs are good and they don't scare their customers away is a huge win, which you're going to be utilizing by putting it up on your website and by sending it around. And this is how you advance, and you're actually able to charge more for your services because you have social proof. And you can implement this into the check-in strategy. So if you already talked to them about a referral last week and already talked to them about a different AI solution, you could, on the third week, you could talk to them about doing a testimonial. And this is just one of the reasons that the check-in framework is really good. It keeps you in touch with your clients. It makes you able to get referrals, get testimonials, and also upsell services. Now that you've gone through day 7, just want to wish you really good luck on the check-ins with your clients. And I'm sure that you're going to be able to get your referrals, upsell them into other services, and also get a testimonial. Good luck.